in the meantime, we have Mike Butterick, who was the MP for Wairarapa online, and Mike is a frequent a guest on my program because I like to promote the Wairarapa and Stewart Island, and believe it or not, I do have a guest from Stewart Island on today too, talking about tourism. So good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Tina. How are you? Long time no speak.
I know, you've been busy. That's why.
Yeah. Well, busy's good though, Tina. Busy's good.
Yeah, and it is very, very good because I finally see that we are going to have some major changes around the RMA. And I know that you're a detail bugger, and you're one of those people who can get facts and put them into your brain and spit them out reasonably quickly. The big things I understand is that there is going to be a whole heap of powers taken from local councils, and that there will be more centralisation of decision making around some elements of the RMA. Is that correct?
Yeah, and look, the RMA has been the elephant in the room for a long time, Tina, and look, the freshwater stuff, we're going to make sure that's paused so we can get the settings right. Because if we don't get it right, beef and lamb, I'm not sure if you've seen their report, painted a pretty dire picture if we carried on the way we were going. It was going to see sort of up to 40% of farmland have to disappear. And that's not great for anything. And, the egg sector, I was actually speaking to a group in Auckland a while ago, and I said to them, and it was about why is the agricultural, the food and fibre sector so important to our success as a country. And I had three figures I asked people to remember. One is 80% or 80 plus, one is 70,000 and the other one's 360,000.
Yeah.
And 80 plus is the percent of our export income that comes from our food and fibre sector.
Yep.
70,000 is the number of businesses in New Zealand that are associated with that sector.
Yep.
And 360,000 is actually the number of people that work in it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty significant. So we've got to make sure we get the settings right.
Yeah. Now, the other thing is I understand that in terms of the reforms is the farm plan stuff. Can you go into detail around these bloody farm plans? Because, they've just been a thorn in the side of farmers since they were announced. So what's happening with those?
Yeah, look, the farm plans, look, all this stuff's sort of going to get paused. And so, look, we've actually done a bucket load of stuff, Tina, and I've got a bit of a list here. There's about 20 things we've done, so I won't go through them all, but, some of the things we've done, we've biffed out Iwakari Kanoa. That had the modelled impact of that was going to see between 20 and 30% of sheep and beef farmers have to exit the industry and about not quite 6% of dairy farmers.
Yeah. And that was a softened version of what they originally wanted.
Removed ag from the ETS. We've brought back common sense in intensive winter grazing and stock exclusion rules. We've had some people have fenced off their waterways. And look, I talk about the dairy industry. What they've done has just been stunning. 99.6 or 0.7% of every Category 1 waterway on dairy farms in New Zealand has been fenced off.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's actually 23,000 kilometres of fencing.
Yeah. And
to give you a bit of an idea of what that distance is, it's 1.25 times the distance of the North Pole to the South Pole. and
you really are Mr. Figures, aren't you?
Yeah, but it just puts it in perspective, Tina. It's a lot of fencing, I can tell you that much.
I'll tell you what, I'd have been a bloody useless MP because I cannot retain facts like you can.
Yeah, but some of these guys, and a lot of that's been planted with riparian planting as well, and that's all come out of Cocky's back pockets. And yet we've had some proposals that, the fence has to be moved instead of 3 metres away from the side of the creek, it's got to be moved out 10 metres.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is just crazy. And actually the dairy cockies have also fenced off they've put in 45,000 bridges or culverts across their creeks, and that's actually 100% on all dairy farms in New Zealand.
Wow, that's pretty good.
It's pretty significant. So, but hey, the good news is though, Tina, we've had the best spring. We're having the best spring we've had for a long, long time on the back of 2 consecutive, pretty awful bloody wet years.
Yep.
We've had people have got tax relief. The OECR, we've we've heard it might happen. It actually has happened. We've had a cut. That downward
that
pressure.
grass thing is really interesting, Mike. And it is. I agree. I looked out on a paddock this morning or last night, and I said to David, "Wow, look at our paddocks!" He said to mow the lawns twice in 10 days. Everything's just taken off, which is great.
When you get the lawn. When you get the lawnmower out, Tina, it's the beginning of the end. You're going to be on it for a while.
I know. I'm just lucky that he loves doing it. I love it, but not quite as much as he does.
Yeah, that's right.